Ever get that feeling, like a tingling kind of thing, that maybe reality is a lot stranger than we tend to think?
Mm-hmm.
Today, we are going deep, really deep, into some seriously mind-bending stuff with Aima Being's book. It's called Navigating the Spaces Between Worlds.
Okay.
And get this, the basic idea
Yep.
is that our beliefs, the things we hold to be true, they could actually shape our experience after death.
Right.
And we're not talking some vague karma kind of way. This is like interior design, but for our souls.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept. And the thing is, the author, she doesn't just theorize about it. She jumps right into this vivid dream, and it really grabs you.
Oh, yeah, tell me about this dream. This is where she meets up with her friend who recently passed, right?
Exactly. And it's not, one of those peaceful harp music situations.
Right, right.
Picture this. Her friend is excitedly changing outfits, first for a political rally,
Oh,
then for a funeral, and all the while she's moving in and out of these strange patches of fog.
okay. So, right off the bat, this isn't your grandma's version of heaven. What does that tell us about how our minds, how they might work after we die?
Well, that's the heart of it, really. The book, it leans on Robert Monroe's work. He's the one who used the term belief system territories, which, okay, it sounds a little jargony,
Yeah, a bit.
but think of it like this. Imagine if the afterlife isn't some fixed place, but more like, I don't know, a self-designed virtual reality.
Okay.
And your deepest beliefs, your fears, desires, all of that, that's the software that builds the whole experience.
Whoa, okay. So, like, if you lived your life all about political activism, your soul might just keep on rallying even after the curtain drops.
In a way, yeah. And the fog, the way the author describes it in the dream,
Yeah.
that's such a great symbol for how malleable these realms are, almost dreamlike. In these spaces, it's like your thoughts don't just reflect reality, they're directly shaping it.
Which blows my mind, honestly, because it suggests that consciousness, who we are at our core, it doesn't just switch off.
Right.
But hold on. If these realms are made by belief, are they even real?
That's where this idea of false heavens comes in.
Okay.
But it's not about being false like it's a bad thing.
Right.
It's more like, imagine being so attached to your routines here on Earth, so comfortable in your beliefs, like that old sweater you can't throw away that you don't even realize you've died.
Wow.
You're still at your desk job, but there's no office anymore.
So for Men in the Dream, she's kind of stuck, caught in that familiar loop, even though technically she's gone.
Yeah, it seems that way, at least at the start. And this is where it gets really interesting, because Aima Being, she suggests that maybe, just maybe, those of us who are still alive,
Yeah.
we might be able to help our loved ones find their way through these in-between spaces.
Help them how? Like, do we hold up a big cosmic sign saying, hey, you're dead, time to move on?
Not exactly, no. It's way more subtle than that, and honestly a lot more compassionate, which I like. The book talks about using familiar phrases, those shared memories. It's almost like we're leaving breadcrumbs to help lead someone out of the woods,
Mm-hmm. So instead of that cosmic billboard, it's more like whispering a secret password that only they would know.
Yes, exactly that. It's not about saying, hey, remember that time you died, but more like, remember that little coffee shop we loved? Maybe we could go there again sometime. You're sparking a little curiosity, a gentle nudge to look beyond what feels familiar.
Working within their own reality tunnel, not trying to drag them out of it. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And it goes beyond just words. The author really stresses how important intention is. The energy we put behind our thoughts and feelings. Like when we hold feelings of love, peace, specifically for the person who's passed, it's like we're building this vibrational bridge between realms.
Okay, hold on. So you're saying that our thoughts and feelings, they aren't just stuck inside us. They ripple outward and maybe even reach those who've passed on.
It's a possibility the book explores, yeah.
I mean, that's a beautiful thought,
Mhm.
but also kind of a big responsibility, right?
It makes you wonder about death, doesn't it? Like, what if it's not this hard stop, this total separation? What if it's more like, I don't know, a shifting how we perceive things, a different frequency maybe? You're just scratching the surface here, but this idea, it lines up with a lot of ancient traditions too.
That's really interesting. And if these belief system territories, these self-made realities, are as fluid as we're saying, is there a limit? Like, could someone believe themselves into a utopia,
Right.
with unlimited pizza and winning lottery tickets every day?
Huh. That's a fun one.
Right.
The book doesn't get into specifics like that, but it seems like these realms work more on the logic of, our subconscious minds.
Okay.
And we know that part of us, it thrives on symbols and emotional truth, not so much on strict material rules.
So less about getting that infinite pizza buffet and more about the feeling of abundance or I don't know, just feeling content and happy.
Exactly. And that's where the ethics get really interesting, don't you think? Because if there's even a chance we can influence these after-death experiences, even a little, should we? And if so, how do we do it responsibly, ethically? It's uncharted territory for sure.
No rule book for the afterlife, huh? One thing that jumped out at me was how the author talked about working within the person's beliefs, what they already hold to be true. So, like, if someone strongly identified as a parent, you might want to acknowledge that, but also gently suggest that maybe it's time for something more. But what if our beliefs are actually what's holding them back?
Ah, see, now that is a fascinating thought, isn't it? Because we're all carrying around our own baggage about death, about what happens next, right?
Totally.
So if we're clinging to grief or anger, could that muddy the waters for someone who's actually trying to move on?
Almost like we're playing a cosmic game of telephone.
Right.
Our beliefs are the message, but the connection's all fuzzy.
Yeah.
And who knows what that message sounds like on the other side?
It's a good metaphor, that's for sure. And it really makes you think about the responsibility we have, not just in how we talk to, those who've passed, but also in how we approach death ourselves and what might be next.
Because if our beliefs can kind of mess up the signal, then maybe helping others starts with cleaning up our own side of things first.
Right.
Face our fears, question what we think we know.
Exactly. And I think that's where this whole belief system territories concept, for all its strangeness, it offers something really empowering. It suggests that death might not be the end, but maybe a transition to a state where consciousness keeps going and is shaped by, well, by everything we carry inside us.
So we're talking about this life being a training ground, in a way,
Yeah.
a chance to, I don't know, refine our beliefs for sure, but also our capacity for love, for understanding, for just letting go.
And maybe, just maybe, by expanding our understanding of what's possible, by understanding how connected we all might be, we don't just help those who've passed on.
Hmm.
Maybe we light up our own paths a little better while we're still here.
It's a lot to think about, but it's hopeful too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're being invited to step into a bigger story, one where death isn't the period at the end of the sentence, but maybe like a comma, just a pause before the next chapter gets going.
And just like any good story, it's got mystery. There's room for interpretation. I mean, we might never fully get how these belief system territories work or how our minds navigate those spaces.
Right.
But I think if we approach these ideas with a little curiosity, some compassion, and a willingness to admit we don't know everything, well, that's how we learn, isn't it? About life, death, and everything in between.
Absolutely. Sometimes asking the right questions is more important than having all the answers, right?
100%.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into navigating the spaces between worlds, there's one last thought I want to leave you with, something I've been turning over in my mind. If you could visit one of these belief system territories, a place made by thoughts and beliefs, whose would you choose? And what would that choice say about you, about what you believe deep down, your hopes, your fears? It's a question worth sitting with for a while, don't you think?